today. Now go and tell all the neighbors, yeah. Then crank up the radio. There's infotainment, brilliance to get you on your way. Wake up, start your day with Jimmy Lakey.
All righty, my friends. Good morning to all of you. Glad to have you here on the daily streamcast we call Lakey Unleashed in the House of Lakey, and glad to have you here. I hope you're glad to be here. If you're not, get your attitude right, get your heart right with Jesus, and be happy to be here. You should be happy to be here. We're living in crazy and unprecedented and fantastical times. We really are. I just heard this little alliteration on the Fox News. It said, you know what it said? It said, the daily deluge of Democrat drama regarding DOGE. There's so many D words in there that I thought that was kind of fantastic. It's fun to watch. It really is. Donald Trump has said all these court rulings are going to court, and these judges are saying, well, hold on here on this DOGE stuff. Trump has a statement that said you get some very bad rulings, and it's a shame to see. Frankly, they want to tell everybody how to run the country when they certain people in charge of massive agencies, people doing it. I thought it was very important to point out yesterday, I think it was Larry Kudlow, that I heard point out that to say that DOGE is unconstitutional or a dictatorship, DOGE is simply saying, hey, here's where we can trim our operations. The operations budget falls under the executive branch. They're not changing policy. They're not closing, if you will, agencies. It's just simply, it's basically an audit. Yeah, there's nothing in the Constitution that says you can't audit a company or audit a department. That's what the inspectors generals are supposed to be doing, but evidently they have not necessarily been doing their job, and so Donald Trump has put another agency in to look at it. So I think Donald Trump will be very victorious in the administration in these appeals, but the courts are squawking, man. The Democrats are squawking. It's a daily deluge of drama on DOGE, according to one of the announcers I just heard a bit ago. So anyway, good morning to everybody. It's February the 11th, the year of our Lord, 2025. It is happy birthday day to my mother. So she turns 81 years of age today. So I doubt she's watching, but if she is, she's a happy birthday. So call her later. All right. Good to have all of you, though. It's a fantastic day. Wherever you're at, we have some fun news to cover throughout the course of the morning. And if you were out there on all the platforms out there, we got word yesterday from Brian Maloney, who's the overseer and the master of Red Wave America and Media Equalizer. Some of you watch on those pages throughout the day. That with those pages and the views that we're getting there, plus the pages that I have and the Twitter and the Rumble, this show's doing quite well. We're 5 weeks in, 6 weeks in, and we're doing quite well. So thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you keep sharing it with your neighbors and your relatives and your friends and your enemies, and let them know that, hey, this is a daily update. I posted this up last night on the Twitter and the Facebook especially. I said, listen, unlike, you ever wonder how does MSNBC stay in business? How does Politico, how do they survive these huge newsrooms, these big production facilities? How do they do it? Well, we have found out in recent moments that it has been USAID. Linda's saying happy birthday to Mama Lakey. So happy birthday, yes, to Mrs. Lakey's mama. How do all these people survive and these companies survive? And now we found out that the U.S. government has been funding them. We basically have state-run media in this country, and the New York Times received money, BBC received money over in Britain, Politico, so they could get great coverage. Well, this program, my friends, does not get any money from the USAID department. I hate to break the news to you, we don't. And so all of your love, all of your support, sharing us, liking us, go to all the platforms, like us. You can help us out, and you can be our USAID. You can be our aid, and I appreciate it when you do that. Let's dive into some of the news. This is a story that, for the Dems freaking out on DOGE. Again, DOGE is not changing policy. DOGE is not saying we don't have a Department of Education. I hope we don't have a Department of Education one day. But DOGE is saying, let's audit the books. Let's see where it's going to. Should we really be spending billions of dollars or millions of dollars studying whether we can make Iran a transgender? Jesse Waters had his guy on the street. I don't know the guy's name. He sends this guy on the street. That's what Jesse Waters used to do for Bill O'Reilly. Jesse Waters was the Bill O'Reilly guy on the street, and now he has his own show. Water sent some people out and said, hey, we're spending billions of dollars on, and he started naming some things that we're doing. And if you want to be a DEI transgender illegal, the government would probably give you money for that through USAID. And they asked these guys on the street, honestly, I'm not being horrible. I don't know if they were homeless or not. They were like kind of in front of a rundown area, and they might have been homeless. And the guy, they said, should we be giving money to these projects? One guy said in a very old kind of an old kind of dialect, he said, I can't even get my teeth done right now. They won't even fix my teeth. So I ain't going to get nothing cut off of me. So I thought that was a very fantastic. That was a great response. And think of that in a serious matter. These Democrats, and whatever, name the Democrat in your state. In my state, I can name John Hickenlooper, Elon, Michael Bennett, I do nothing Bennett. I can name all the Negus, Diana DeGette. Are all these Democrats really more comfortable saving the stupidity that USAID and other agencies were spending money on, when you have in every city in America, big city especially, you have veterans on the street corner holding up signs going U.S. veteran, and they can't even get proper health care. They can't get dental care. And so it's funny to watch the mountains that the Democrats want to die on. I know they're trying to stake out territory. I know they're trying to grab some territory and be important and really have a defense. But I'm not sure that government waste and abuse is something that they want to be on the side of. But if you're protesting DOGE, you're basically standing for government waste and abuse. And there's some of these spending programs. Oh, by the way, I guess FEMA's in trouble. Donald Trump said, hey, stop this FEMA spending. And Kristi Noem is now confirming that FEMA, despite presidential order, which he controls the executive branch in FEMA, they decided to spend like 49 million, 59 million, millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars to New York for another payment to put these illegals up in luxury hotels. And Donald Trump had stopped those statements. So somebody's going to probably get fired, definitely fired. And somebody's probably going to get prosecuted here. And I think that's what's going to stop it. When some people start getting perp walked and some people start getting fired and prosecuted, I think that's going to be a very key part of the move forward. So anyway, watch it very closely. They're freaking out about DOGE, but a few years ago, they weren't so freaked out about it. Let me play a little clip of Elizabeth Warren. We know her as Pocahontas on the stage, a fake Pocahontas. And here she is on the warpath against government misdeeds and government spending with the old filmmaker Michael Moore. This is before she got to the U.S. Senate. This was when she was just a corrupt, crazy woman. She wasn't corrupted by the powers of government. And this is what she thought about corrupt government spending many years ago. This is before she got to the U.S. Senate. This was when she was a DEI hire off a fake resume at Harvard as a professor. She's talking to filmmaker Michael Moore. Watch this.
One who spent many years as a prosecutor. And he said, when that much money disappears, it's usually because somebody broke some laws somewhere. But if we don't look, if we don't ask, if we don't uncover it and make it all public, we'll never find out.
Where is the criminal investigation that needs to happen here?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen it at all. What the government didn't do is it didn't turn around and say, you lost how much money, and you wiped out how many pensions, and you wiped out how many jobs? I want to know who did what, whether or not any laws were violated, where the gaps are in the system that would permit this to happen. I want to hold somebody responsible. Responsibility is not just about blame. Responsibility is about making sure we fix this and it will not. Is about making sure we fix this and it will not happen.
Yeah, she said it will not happen again. So there you have it. Pocahontas used to want to have accountability in government. She used to want to know that things were being spent properly and not misspent. But unfortunately, because of her derangement syndrome, Elizabeth Warren can't get past the fact that it's Donald J. Trump doing it, holding people accountable, holding the edifices of government accountable, and she's freaking out about it. Now, the media is also freaking out about this. I've got a couple of more news clips I want to share with you. By the way, on all the platforms you're on, Facebook.com, criminals don't care about the average person. They are only concerned about their own selves. All those opposed to DOGE are corrupt, just trying to save their funds that they are stealing from the personal bank account they created. Let me ask you, some of you I know have different political viewpoints than I do, perhaps. Is there anybody that thinks that fighting against DOGE, and again, DOGE hasn't done anything unconstitutional. DOGE is not doing anything except one thing. The DOGE is doing one thing, saying, hey, why are we funding transgender studies? Why are we putting Sesame Street programs on in Afghanistan? What role does that have? Who's deciding these policies? All they're doing is say, hey, look how this money is being spent. And do we really, when we have problems in America, when we have inflation in America, when we have veterans on the streets begging for dental care and health care, and we have homeless people in America that can't get the mental health or the addiction crisis help that they need, and yet we're spending billions or trillions of dollars overseas, what the heck are we thinking? All DOGE is doing is looking into where our government dollars are going and reporting on it, and then the executive branch of government, that would be Donald Trump, gets to decide, at least in my administration, that's not a priority. We're not going to fund that. We don't need to do that. There was a study that USAID funded. It was several $1 million. They wanted to study what snapping was. Snapping. Everybody snap your fingers? Everybody, right now, snap your fingers. Let's do it. Like corn pop on the side of the street, like KK was yesterday on the program. Everybody snap your fingers. It studied snapping. And the harder, evidently, you put your fingers together, the louder the snapping is. And that was millions of dollars spent on that. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars spent so that the government could make sure Politico was in their pocket with news coverage. If anybody out there can tell me how this is a winning message for the Democrats, I'd like to know it. I'd love to know how this is a winning message, because to me, this is a loser message indeed. Now, I want to play this a little bit of snippet of video here, if I may. This is ABC. They're talking about Elon Musk, and they're freaking out. And they're really just ignoring DOGE. They're really ignoring the real story out there. This is what ABC and NBC has to say about Elon Musk, or not say. Listen to what, again, the main thing is the main thing. We have probably generational study, a deep dive into what our government dollars for. When they take that money, you get your paycheck this Friday or last Friday, the 15th or 30th, whenever you get paid. You look at all those dollars that are taken out for payroll deductions to federal tax, and then you say, wait, you took my money from my pocket in Oklahoma City or Denver, Colorado, or Topeka, Kansas. You took this money, you shipped it to Washington, D.C., and you think it's bad enough that they're going to ship it, take your money to D.C., hand it to the Department of Education, and then give that money back to your school district and say, here's the money that we took from Johnny, we took from Susie in your city, but we're going to give it back to you. But here's how you have to spend it, and we're going to mandate that from Washington, D.C. Okay, that's scary enough, right? That's frightening enough that they take money from the local community, they suck it up in this vacuum of dastardly deeds in Washington, D.C., and then they say, oh, we're going to dole it back to you. We'll give you some, but here's how you have to spend the money that came from your community in the first place. That's how they do it. And now that's already bad enough, but now you think that they're going to what? They take your money, they say, hey, we could give that back to the school district, even with restrictions on it, but you know what? We need to fund transgender operations and DEI musicals in South America. We need to make sure that we're putting on a $20 million Sesame Street. So, hey, you folks out in the heartland of America, you keep giving us your money, and guess what we're going to do with it? We're going to send it over there and teach people about diversity, equity, inclusion, and maybe have a couple of surgeries that we can fund of chopping off of me and addictomies, as old Rush Limbaugh used to say. That's what they're doing with your dollar. And that's what Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer are gone back crap crazy, is that somebody's going, hey, did you know, hey, ma'am, madam, on Main Street, madam on Oak Street, Elm Street, whatever street you're on, 1st Street, 3rd Street, 8th Street, did you know that they took your money from your paycheck? Do you know they're taking income tax off your Social Security? They took that money, and rather than send it to the local school district, they took that money and they decided they were going to ship it over to some DEI program in a foreign country. Oh, I know the veterans in America, people that laid their life on the line for the country, they're still suffering. They're still needing health care. We got a lot of homeless population out there that needs some care. But hey, don't worry. We're going to spend that $20 million on a Sesame Street program in Afghanistan. Oh, by the way, those millions of dollars that you extract, we're going to give them to FEMA. Not so that they can take care of people with the wildfires in California, not so they can take care of people in North Carolina that are still homeless after a hurricane and floods. Now we're going to give that to pay off the millions of dollars to put illegal aliens, criminals, into luxury hotels in New York City. We're going to use the FEMA money for that. That's what's happening in Washington, D.C. right now. So this is the priority of the reporting of ABC and NBC. Again, they're out of touch. They're far, far out of touch with what Americans think. Because I know people that would not vote for Donald Trump to save their life. But they're going, wow, we're spending, we got a lot of wasteful spending. And let there be no mistake about it. This wasteful spending has been going on. Well, it really probably ramped up a lot during Obama, but it's been going on. The swamp has been in play in Washington, D.C., and DOGE is exposing the swamp. And the media, who, again, now we have learned has been bought and paid for with millions of dollars of money from USAID, the media's reporting it or not reporting it. You decide. Watch this little montage here, if you could.
Elon Musk and his team at the Department of Government Efficiency have gained access into at least 10 federal agencies, but their efforts are being put to the test in a series of legal challenges. The administration's plan to place 2,000 employees on leave at the humanitarian agency USAID temporarily blocked. Also halted access to the sensitive information of millions of Americans at the Department of Treasury. And the administration's buyout offer to federal workers to resign with pay or risk being fired put on pause too.
Hold on. That's one of the most fascinating parts of this whole thing is the administration has said, listen, we're demanding you come back to the office. There's no more remote work. You're going to have to get your ass back into these huddled halls of government bureaucracy, and you're going to do it. However, if you don't want to do that, you've now built your lifestyle. You've now decided to homeschool. You've now made choices that it doesn't work for you to come back to the office. We understand maybe you moved out of the city and you're working somewhere else. And so rather than just fire you and tell you you're insubordinate, we're going to give you a buyout and say, hey, you know what? We understand. COVID happened. We told you to work remotely. Now we're telling you not to work remotely. But if you can't go back and work remotely and you can't do this and come back to the office, why don't we pay you for like 7 months? And that way you move on, we move on, and it's good. This is what they called a very nice off ramp. Very nice off ramp. And who steps in and stops it? There's 60,000 people that have said, yeah, I love that off ramp. Please, I built my lifestyle. Maybe they're getting a benefit. They're getting ready to retire. Whatever the case may be, they said, yeah, I like that lifestyle. Maybe they just started staying at home and love staying at home and thought if I can draw a paycheck at home, but I can. But give me 7 months of pay and I'll figure it out. It's a kindness to the workers. But who steps in here and stops it? Who steps in and takes it to court? The unions. The unions, I thought the unions were working for the workers, and this is a voluntary program. Union members are going, hey, you can't offer them buyouts. If you're a union member, notice what your union's doing. Your union is stepping in and saying that buyout that you wanted of a very generous off-ramp of 7 months of free pay so that you can continue life as you developed it over the last 3 or 4 years with government shutdowns and working remotely. They're giving you 7 months of free pay, and you're the worker, you're the union member going, yes, I'll take that, Mabel. That's going to be a great thing. And the union's the one that steps in and says, don't you pay our union members to quit. The union's not looking out for the union members. Why do the union members want those? They want those jobs. They want more union workers in Washington. And the individual union worker, their opinion be damned. It doesn't matter at all. The union won't get their dues. The union won't be able to funnel that money back to the Democrat National Committee. The unions step in and stop the workers that they're supposedly representing in the union. The union step in and say, I'm sorry, you can't have that money. I know it's a nice buyout. I know it'd really help you. I know it would help you continue to stay at home and homeschool your kids or have that start a business. I know it's an off-ramp that's really nice and it's very generous, but we don't want you to take that off-ramp. If you're a union member out there, you should be questioning your union bosses and your union lords and asking who are they really representing. I'll guarantee you they're not representing you in your best interest. You're 60,000 people in the union want to take this buyout, and the union bosses take the Trump administration to court and say, stop it. Don't give those people that money. 60,000 union members want this, and yet the unions that they've been paying dues to are stopping it from happening. Fascinating, isn't it? Continue the video from ABC and NBC in their references about DOGE.
Vice President J.D. Vance openly questioning the court's authority, writing, quote, "Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power." Democratic Senator Adam Schiff responding, "Ignoring court decisions we don't like puts us on a dangerous path to lawlessness." Others in his party sounding the alarm.
I think this is the most serious constitutional crisis the country has faced, certainly since Watergate. The president is attempting to seize control of power and for corrupt purposes.
But
Hold on, let's stop again. What did we already tell you? I already told you this right here. DOGE is not changing policy. They're not taking power of agencies. They're simply exposing corrupt spending, simply exposing where the money has been going. They take it from Main Street, they send it to Capitol Hill, and Capitol Hill doles it out there. And here are the Democrats again. They're idiots. You Democrats are fools, I'm telling you, because everything is DEFCON 5, everything is DEFCON 3, everything is DEFCON 12, everything's a 6 on the Richter scale, a 10 on the Richter scale. And you continue to come out and say, the world's on fire. This is the most serious constitutional crisis ever. Is anybody tired of hearing Democrats say that? Could any of you damn Democrats stand on those television shows and say, you know what? We need to stop looking at USAID. Stop saying it's a constitutional crisis. When they say that Donald Trump or Elon Musk are it's a constitutional crisis, what they're basically, it's the equivalent of calling, remember what they do, you're racist, you're bigot, you're homophobic, you're misogynistic, and you're a Russian spy, you're a Russian asset. That's where this comes from. It's the same thing. So when they flail their hands in the air and their hair goes back crap crazy like Bernie Sanders, and they start saying it's a constitutional crisis, that's basically saying you're racist. It's the same thing. You're racist. Dems, you're in a constitutional crisis. That's the same intellectually bankrupt. Verbal masturbation is what it is. That they're simply saying, what do they do? If you're a conservative, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, Russia, you collude with Russia, it's an existential threat, all these things, and a constitutional crisis. I wonder if the Democrats even know where their pocket constitution is. I would guess most of them don't even have a freaking clue about the Constitution. They just simply pad their pockets in Washington. So again, when you hear this phrase in the news media, and they're saying it's a constitutional threat, DOGE is a constitutional threat. No, it's actually in line with the Constitution, because the executive branch of government is supposed to oversee whatever agencies are there. He hires, he fires, or she, if it ever happens in this country, it ever happens, they oversee it. And the president now is standing up with DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, and saying, hey, we're not spending trillions of dollars. We're not spending it correctly. The taxpayers are getting screwed here. And the Democrats are going, this is a constitutional crisis that we're telling the taxpayers they're getting screwed. Hey, Dems, I want to tell you, keep flapping your lips. Keep sending Pocahontas out there. I love it. Keep sending Chuck Schumer out there. Keep sending these dim-witted U.S. senators that have no freaking clue how to hold a job in the real private sector. Keep sending them out there blabbing in front of the camera and flailing their arms going, it's a constitutional crisis. Keep doing it. Because this is something that you're defending a hill that's very unpopular. You're mounting a battle that I think people that are reasonable on any part of the political spectrum can say, yeah, I think it would be good to know if we're funding transgender rat studies. I think that would be good. Continue the media coverage, and here it is again.
Trump signaling Musk is just getting started.
He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military.
Government contractors like Jacqueline Devine are faced with confusion and uncertainty.
We all want to be more efficient and more effective. Yeah, nobody's contesting that. But an outright stop before you do any kind of critical review just seems. Honestly, I got to use the word cruel.
Hold on. This is moving so quick. We're yanking Band-Aids off here. Now, there are things like they redirected the funding of USAID within like 48 to 72 hours. So just stopping it is so cruel. No, they're not dragging this on. They're letting you know your future immediately. Hey, we've yanked the Band-Aid off. Some of you USAID employees are needed. Some of you aren't. We're fixing it. You're not leaving you in limbo. That's actually not cruel. What's cruel is, what's cruel, ma'am, with the bad camera angle, what's cruel is that you're milking and fleecing the people of Colorado and New Mexico and Arizona, Wyoming, Oklahoma, Idaho. You're fleecing them for money to pay for transgender studies and DEI education and Sesame Street in Afghanistan. I think it's more cruel to be screwing the taxpayers. And the efficiency about this Elon Musk and DOGE thing is that they're doing it very quickly. They're like, hey, okay, we took a quick look. If we would have put this in a Senate committee or in a House committee, it would have languished on for months or languished on for hours. It would have just gone on and on and on. Hey, but we're doing a quick peek at it. And that way we can all move on and not be cruel by, in other words, would you rather treat your cancer and have it cured and have it your body fixed in just a matter of days? Or do you want to have treatment for a month or a year? And hey, go to this doctor, they're going to poke you here, and go to this doctor, they're going to prod you here. In any other instance in life, we want the quick fix, right? We want to really just say, hey, what's the problem? How do I fix it? And what do I keep doing? And what should I stop doing? This woman with the bad camera angle is not that lady on the screen now, though I stopped previously, saying that this is kind of cruel. What's I think would be cruel is for the American taxpayers to be treated like veterans or cancer patients that just their diagnosis takes 4, 5, 6 months before they can ever get to the treatment portion. We're getting to the treatment portion right up front. All right, continue this a little bit more of this one, then I've got some more video.
USAID employee Amy Uccello says she was on maternity leave when she had to take her baby to collect her belongings from the office with a security escort.
I had 2 days left to use my health benefits for myself and my baby.
So back to that buyout offer to federal workers. There will be another hearing in that case later today, but the administration is still pressing on overnight, ordering the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to stop doing any work that effectively shuts down the agency that was created to protect consumer finance.
So here they are. This is what the media's tactic is. Rather than talking about the prioritization of again, there's some government agencies, Donald Trump has said this, there are some things that may be very good. Oh, but let's read this, a big one, a dissertation. We're giving away doctorates today for the longest responses. Welcome. I remember when Twitter used to make you put it 140 characters. Remember that? We should get back to that. Welcome to being laid off. See, I can't even, it's hiding me. I got to stand up here. Welcome to being laid off, much like the rest of the real world has had to do. Plus, during your COVID shutdown, you stay at home while the rest of us, the nation, lost jobs. Businesses closed, education stopped, but we heard nothing from one federal worker because they were safe. That's true. If you were a bureaucrat in Washington, D.C., you got to move to Washington. Christopher says, sorry. It's a great point. It's a great point. I mean, we've got, hey, Christopher, you're not alone. Christopher, you are not alone. We've got a couple of dissertation writers, and I think I take it as a compliment because they think that I'm giving away doctorates in something from the University of Lakey. I think that's what they think. They write this the thesis. It's good. But I think Christopher brings up a great point. This work. I want you to notice the media spin. The media is trying to make you think that these little old ladies, this woman with a baby is being victimized. This woman with a baby is being victimized. Nevertheless, you can't buy eggs and you can't buy food, and they're taking a bazillion dollars a year out of all of our paychecks and sending it overseas. They're missing the point, is my point. They are missing the point of why people support DOGE and people don't like to see their money wasted, and yet they're trying to make a victim out of government workers who have not been victimized. Is it really? Are we supposed to feel sorry for her? She's a newborn mom. She's got maternity leave going on. Kathy says some were fired because they wouldn't comply. Yeah, government workers, no, they had the cushiest jobs ever during the COVID. I'm thinking, she said she had 2 more days in her maternity leave or her health care benefits, I think. So she was going to have to go back to work anyway. So her baby's what? How many health care? I don't know. Federal workers probably get 4, 5, 6 months of maternity leave or family leave or whatever they call that. So this woman's complaint, and the media plays it up as she's a real victim, is she has a newborn baby, and she had to take that newborn baby, not like she probably had to walk 10 miles uphill both ways in the snow. Her complaint is she had to take the newborn baby, probably in a stroller, probably in a carrier, and she had to take the newborn baby into her office place and collect her belongings. And the reporter there for mainstream media paints that as just some victimization. It's cruel and unusual punishment. So what were we supposed to do? Oh, you just had a baby. You get to keep your job because we would hate for you to have to haul that baby up in a carrier, a stroller. Listen, I watch women in Africa when I go over there. They strap the baby on their back with a cloth. They ain't got no stroller. They ain't got no baby stroller. They got nothing. They're just, you carry the baby with you. But somehow they do the story, and you're like, wait, what is she complaining about? She had to go clean her office out. And because she had just had a baby, it wasn't just a baby. She's 2 days left in her maternity leave. So the baby's several months old. And she had to go clean out her office and collect her belongings. Are we supposed to play the sympathy card here? I help me understand how I'm supposed to feel sorry for that. Democrats are fighting efficiency. Yes, the right there on the screen. Democrats fight efficiency and accountability. Can someone tell me how this is a winning battle for any of them? I just don't see that it's a winning battle for anyone. All right, good to have you here. There's a poll that came out over the weekend, and it's fascinating. And this is, let me read the script and then I'll play some of the video from you. With most people, Americans, this is Republicans and Democrats, just Americans polled, they describe Donald Trump as tough, energetic, and effective. And he has the highest approval rating about a month, just going on less than a month into his term. He has a higher approval rating now than he ever had in his term of office in his first term. And I think if I read the stat right, his first term, with all the Russian collusion and all the barbs that they were throwing at him, arrows that they were throwing at him, his first term, he had 11 days where he was a net positive. So far, every day, 20-something days into his administration, he's in the net positive. So he's already on the performance level, outperformed exactly. He's outperformed the bar and overcome the bar from the previous administration. Let me play this. Here's CBS News. How much pain did you think it caused CBS News over the weekend to have to report this? Trump is strong. He's energetic. He's effective. They call him tough. 69% of Americans say he's a tough son of a gun, man. There's 58% of Americans, Republicans and Democrats, are saying in his first few days of office, he's been effective. See, this is why I wonder why Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer are why are they glomming on this government efficiency thing? I don't know why they think it's going to be a winning offer, a winning thing for them. I just don't get that at all. This is CBS News reporting the poll numbers that are very positive for Donald J. Trump. Go ahead.
Good morning and welcome to Face the Nation. We begin today with our first assessment of how President Trump and his policies are doing just 3 weeks into his second term. Our CBS poll finds that a majority of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House. Joining us with more is our Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto. Good to see you, Anthony.
She's going to ask him questions here. She's going to say, hey, Anthony, I've got to ask you, can you find some holes in this? People can't really think this guy's being effective, and here's what Anthony says.
What's driving this?
I will keep it simple, Margaret.
What's driving this?
He is doing, in the eyes of the public, what he said he would do in the campaign. There's political value in that. In fact, 70% of people say he's doing what he promised. That's whether they approve of him or not. Now, there's another part of this that continues over from the campaign. There were words that he was described as being tough, being energetic, and he still is today in big majority numbers. So as people take a look in these first few weeks, there's been a lot of activity. They're getting that general sense of governance, and that's being reflected in these early numbers.
Good morning and welcome.
You know what the general sense of governance means, what he means by saying that? When he says the general sense of government, they're saying it seems like someone's finally in charge of this country. It seems as if someone's actually awake. It seems as if we don't have a demented, drooling fool with a cocaine addicted son and a woman who wears the White House drapes as a dress and some cackling hyena as the vice president. It seems like we have someone really in charge. Ho! Americans like it. Americans feeling like the resemblance and the return of government. And he's strong, he's energetic, and also 58% of Americans in this poll say he is being effective. And what are they giving most? And how are Americans making that decision? Americans are making that decision. Why? Isn't that J.D. Vance's "I don't care, Margaret"? Yeah, I think that's the same lady. I guess so. Daddy's home, Kathy says. Sorry. Sometimes I love reading the comments. Sometimes I see them and I don't read them, but I'm trying to read as many of them I can. Trump's overall job approval, 53%. So if Americans are saying Trump's being effective, what are the two most visible things that have happened in the last 3.5, 4 weeks? How are they judging that effectiveness? Knowing that we have most Americans aren't paying attention. Like if you're watching this in the morning, you're watching this in the evening, whenever you're watching my daily update, you're pretty much a person that stays in touch with the news and policy and commentary, and you know what's going on in the world around you. Most people have no clue about that. Most people don't have a freaking clue about that. So if 58% of Americans say he's being effective in his first few weeks of office, how are they judging that? They only hear the loudest bang, the loudest squeaky wheel. They're only judging that off of the fact that they've heard about deportations and they've heard about Department of Government and Efficiency. That's what they've heard about. And Americans say, yeah, he's being effective. In other words, they're giving Americans are giving a seal of approval to the activities of the Trump administration in the first few days of office. So 64% of Americans, Republicans and Democrats, say, yeah, it's a great thing. 64% says it's a great thing to send U.S. troops to the border. We approve of that. 59%, just under 60%, if margin of error takes it over 60%, approve of all the deportations. So you've got these mayors out there in Chicago and Denver and idiotic governors like we have in Colorado, and you probably have an idiotic governor in your state. We're not a sanctuary state or sanctuary city, but we have sanctuary policies. Well, 60% of Americans say, yeah, we think it's great to deport the illegals. And you know what the poll question didn't say? It didn't say deport the criminal illegals. It didn't. The poll said, do you support the deportation of people that have entered this country illegally? They did not specify and parse out, hey, well, just get the criminals and let everybody else drop babies and have anchor babies and populate and live in luxury hotels in New York. No, the poll actually said, do you support getting rid of people, forcefully deporting people that have entered this country illegally? And 60% basically said, yeah, get them out of here. And again, Democrats on the wrong end of that thing as well. See, it's basically kind of a tie. People don't know much about it. Should there be detention centers while we decide who people should be deported? I don't know. Maybe yeah, and maybe not. So that's an irrelevant question. How do you think Trump is handling the Israel-Hamas conflict? 54% approve on that. What do you think of U.S. trying to take over Gaza? How would that be? Again, people don't even understand the question, but basically you have 53% say, I'm not sure, or it's a good idea. So you have a majority that are open to it and or say it's a good idea. So Donald Trump's kicking their ass right there, and all you can get is a bunch of flailing and screaming out there. And I think it's fantastical. All right, we talked yesterday a little bit. I'll come back to some of these news stories here in just a minute. We talked yesterday about the Super Bowl commercials, and we thought about all the things that would have been better on the Super Bowl commercials, all the things that could have been more exciting. This is a Super Bowl commercial. This is a Super Bowl, not commercial, halftime show. Kendrick Lamar. Tomorrow, I didn't get it loaded up here, and the reason we're a couple of minutes late starting today is I was having trouble on the Instagram. So we're not on the Instagram this morning, and for some reason I was having difficulty getting the video to load up on the Instagram. So sorry, Instagram. I apologize if you watch this later. We talk about the halftime show. Tomorrow, one of the things I want to play for you, there's a lot of theories out there that maybe that halftime show is more artistic than you think, and maybe there's a lot of thought. If you look at Kendrick Lamar, he had a lowercase a as is around his neck. And that was a lowercase a, meaning an A, not a major A, but a minor A minor. And if you follow the whole thing, that the song that he ended with that they were kind of coming back to was a diss track that basically went after Drake and called people out. He was basically saying you guys are pedophiles and you like minors. And so Drake's threatened to sue. And if you look at again, these are all theories out there. If you want to go on a rabbit trail, and I've been on some rabbit trails the last 24 hours getting ready for a big interview I'm doing a little bit later today for the Patreon page. The set, if you got the aerial view of the Super Bowl stage, it was shaped evidently like a PlayStation hand control. And PlayStation is owned by, say it's Sony, a Sony PlayStation. And Drake's record label is the Sony Corporation, and that owns the publishing rights. So evidently there was a lot of innuendos. I guess Serena Williams came out. Was it one of the Williams girls came out and did a little dance? And that was her like a celebrity appearance. And she, I'm told, used to be Drake's girlfriend. And that's a dance that she used to do and got in trouble for doing it on the tennis courts. I mean, there's a lot of things that were deep beyond the fabric of the show. Now, I still think the show sucked, and I still think they got to. Let me tell you, I said we're talking about this. One of the reasons you've seen some crazy shows that don't necessarily appeal to Main Street America. There's certain genres of music that can unite, and then there's certain genres of music that somebody likes it, but not everybody does. I mean, you may not be the biggest fan of country music, but you can kind of understand it. Classic rock, that's kind of a uniting genre. Modern pop, some of that could be a good thing. I mean, Lady Gaga, I thought, did a great job a few years ago performing, but the rap and the hip hop era is not necessarily a uniting format. Neither is thrash heavy metal, Satan metal. We have friends. I have friends that I'm like, are you listening? Do you sacrifice kittens while you listen to this demon music that you listen to? Oh, I hate it. It drives me nuts. But one of the reasons they've chosen this genre is because Jay-Z, you may not know who Jay-Z is. Jay-Z, right about the time of the George Floyd riots and the BLM riots, the NFL decided they were going to do a lot of virtue signaling, and the NFL decided to virtue signal, and that's where they put those messages in the end zones. Remember, this was the time that they were all kneeling in front of before the flag of the national anthem. This is the time that they put these end racism in the end zone. This is a time it takes all of us became a message. This is a time that, and there was a whole season. I bet you couldn't find a honky or a white person that did the national anthem all year. I mean, if you were not a person of color, you couldn't perform the national anthem. And that's kind of what, they've doubled down on the stupidity. And so Jay-Z during that time, who's a black entertainer, has a production company, and he was basically given full rights to orchestrate the entertainment of the Super Bowl and the NFL as a whole. And since then, they have done some of the weirdest, crazy stuff at Super Bowl halftime since then. Now, so Jay-Z, as artistic as you may think he is, he was a DEI hire. Diversity, equity, inclusion. We want to show that we're really good and we love people of all colors. And so therefore we have, so you're a white guy? No, you can't program the NFL Super Bowl halftimes. Jimmy, you can't sing the national anthem this season. You're a honky. You can't do it. You got to be a black person to do it. That's why they did that. And so right before this Super Bowl happened, Roger Goodell decided they were going to extend the reign of Jay-Z and his halftime shows. And so if you think that halftime should get better, they're not going to get better anytime soon. Yesterday, we played the girls with the reindeer ears, and they were dancing on the stage in 1958 for the halftime show, and the anticipation was so great to watch the game, but we just wanted to watch more dancing girls yesterday. This was a halftime show, no joke, I sound like Joe Biden, no joke, this was a halftime show from the 1960s. And I'm thinking that somebody said yesterday they should have just wheeled Donald Trump out on the field and let him sign executive orders. That would have been a better halftime. I do want to come back tomorrow and talk more about it at halftime. There's a lot of evidently read the tea leaves. There was a lot of symbolism. It was shaped like a Sony PlayStation. And at the very end, they called out these people for being pedophiles. And if you looked up in the stands, it had letters lit up and it said game over. In other words, we're exposing you. So there was a lot of inside communication that was fascinating from the medallion that Kendrick Lamar had around his neck. But again, I didn't like it. This is a halftime show. Yesterday, we played the girls with the dancing gears. I wouldn't mind this halftime show. Watch this. I forgot what year this was, but let's play this video of the halftime show from days gone by. I think in 1965 or 66. A jetpack. The guy goes up in a jetpack. That was a halftime show. 67. Two guys in a jetpack. The spectacle of sport. That's fantastic. That was a halftime show. So we've gone from dancing girls with reindeer ears and fluffy tails to guys going up in jetpacks. And now we have Kendrick Lamar communicating all sorts of inside secrets and orchestration of hidden meanings in that. Remember a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, Rihanna was the singer at halftime, and everybody's like, what was all that? These armies of people dressed in white that looked like a march of the KKK running across the stage, and they circled this orb and fought over this orb. Well, that was Rihanna. Basically, what you were watching was a lesson in fertilization, a lesson in seeding, if you will. That's what you were watching in that when Rihanna was announcing she was pregnant, and the guys dressed up all in white, zipping across the stage, flopping across the stage, were the spermatozoa, and they were going to the egg for the fertilization, and then Rihanna could announce that she was pregnant. This is the kind of stuff. You didn't read? No, that's what it was. I remember I was doing the show the next day, and I was like, what the hell did we just watch the radio show? And I said, what the hell did we just watch on the Rihanna halftime show? And then I started reading, and it was her announcing that she was pregnant, and she was showing human conception at that moment. Fireworks happened and all sorts of stuff. Jeff said something there in the chat room that I thought was great. Whatever happened to wardrobe malfunctions? Remember JT, Justin Timberlake, and Janet Jackson? He showed the little nipples. That happened. That was orchestrated, by the way. They knew that. And those were better days. So Justin Timberlake, again, not necessarily a big fan of JT's music, but that's a little bit more acceptable than Kendrick Lamar and what we've been watching. But again, the reason you're watching it, and again, Jay-Z may be the most talented man ever, but Jay-Z got the job because the NFL decided that he should have the job and he should plan the halftime. He's more qualified than the rest of us because he's a black man, and black guys get to program it. And it's a DEI hire. And again, I don't mind, if you're going to give me some, I can name some artists, and if we have to put people of certain colors and races, it doesn't all have to be the same genre. Just because they're a black artist doesn't mean that they, it does. I mean, there's great black singers that do country music. There's great black singers that do jazz. There's great black singers that do gospel. Maybe, again, if we're only going to do people of certain colors and races for certain things, it doesn't all have to be the same genre. And Jay-Z, though, has chosen to take that certain genre. But you might be fascinated all the things you might have missed. Like it's been 3 years and some of you didn't know that Rihanna was showing the male sperm connect with the female egg. You didn't know that, right? You didn't understand that. I just explained it to you. And evidently yesterday there was a lot of Sunday, there's a lot of hidden meetings in the Kendrick Lamar show as well. You know how times have changed in America? We have old halftime shows that used to be this, right? Here we go. Rocket Man, play that again. Here we go. This is another way that times have changed. Halftime show. Oh, jetpacks. Everybody's fascinated. This is a halftime demonstration at a Super Bowl. Marching bands and jetpacks. So that's fantastic. Here's another way things have changed in America. You ready for this? Things have definitely changed in America. And this is very serious here. Very, very serious. Turn your speakers up. You're going to want to hear this. In the Trump White House, things have changed. No longer do you have the couch surfing son that made millions of dollars of fake, crappy art sold to Russian oligarchs and the Russian billionaires and funneling money from Ukraine. You have instead prayer meetings and staff meetings happening at the White House. And I want you to watch this. This was filmed. You see a lot of cell phones up, but you're about to see in the White House of the United States of America. This doesn't bless your heart. This will bless your heart more than the. This will bless your heart. No, you're not going to laugh. This is not a coffee warning. This will. I'm serious. Everybody wants to know if I'm going to play Joe Biden in cornrows again, corn pop. No, I'm not going to do that. We'll do that tomorrow. This happened in the White House, and there's more and more videos coming out like this, meetings and cabinet meetings and staff meetings and tour groups and stuff. This is in the White House. No joke. Joe Biden said, no joke. I think you may recognize the song.
soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art.
Amen. When was the last time that type of a spectacle was allowed in the White House? You got a lot of people professing that they were very devout Catholics that were very much campaigning on the fact of sacrificing children at abortion clinics. And there you have people singing how great thou art. They're probably trying to exorcise some of the demons that have been lurking there in the White House for the last 4 years, and probably should bring in some sage and holy water and have a big prayer meeting. But seriously, that's there's videos like that are circulating. You're going to see more of them. The media never played this stuff. If you would watch when Donald Trump in his first term, under all the persecution he was under, the lawfare that he was under, how many times that he brought leaders in and that they had to, you're Christian, you understand the laying on of hands. There's so many videos that are out there and photos of Donald Trump, probably at young and maybe not young, but not necessarily as known for his faith and Bible studies. He's just sitting there going, wow, this is, he relied on prayer so much in his first term. That's documented, and you can find the videos. So let me play it one more time. This is what's happening in your White House, okay? It's not Kamala looking for Willie Brown to see if she can get another promotion. It's not Jill Biden wondering if she can take out Nancy Pelosi out back and kick her butt. It's not Hunter Biden wondering how his cocaine got left downstairs in the coat room. It's not Demented Joe looking for ice cream right now. It's not that. This was just this week in the White House, and there's been several other of these videos circulating out there. But again, sing along if you wish. This is the new day in America. We've got a long ways on halftime shows, right? We used to have great halftime shows. Now we have iffy halftime shows. At least we've got greatness back into the White House and declaring how great God is.
How great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Amen.
It's in a cabinet room as well. It's a fantastic room. Let me play one that kind of got all serious and sappy there about Jesus and the Lord and all that. That's good. I want to play this clip this is ABC News. This is on The View. After the halftime show on Sunday, I guess the little old battle axe went on The View yesterday and said this, and I'd like to make comment on it after she says this. Go ahead.
I don't do sports. I don't do football, so I wasn't watching the game. But listen, I think today Donald Trump is going to sign an executive order banning black people from halftime. Because you remember last week we were talking about whether the NFL was capitulating to Trump by removing the term "end racism" from the end zone. Yeah. Boy, did they not capitulate to Trump. When I saw Samuel L. Jackson dressed as a black Uncle Sam introducing Kendrick Lamar, who then had like an entire formation of all black people making a U.S. flag. Listen, this much I know. All the black people on my feed were like, ooh, this is blackity black black. And all the racists who somehow get in, man, were they hopping mad. So if the racists are mad, I am happy as a clam.
All right, let me say this. If Donald J. Trump, let's get this right out of the open. If Donald J. Trump was going to sign an executive order to ban people of color, black people or Hispanic people, or deport them or whatever she says. If Donald J. Trump was going, he's not starting with the Super Bowl, honey. He's starting with The View. There's some of the dumbest people of color wrapped up in playing the race game on The View. So, Mr. Trump, if you're listening to the program today, if you are going to sign an executive order banning people of color from performing on the Super Bowl stage, why don't you ban them from being on ABC's and The View? Because is there a group of dumber women that are on The View? really is, if you criticize them, you're racist, you're bigot, you're homophobe. And if you're Elon Musk, you're a threat to the Constitution. They always want a name call and not get to the reality of what's happening out there. So yeah, if Donald Trump's going to sign an executive order about people of color performing, I'm telling you. Jeff says there's no Latino representation near the halftime show, though. Well, racist, pointing certain things out like that. Anyway. Start with the View. Let's have an executive order banning stupid people of all race, colors, and creeds from the View, and pretty much that would be an empty set every day. They're not real bright there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what else do I have here? Got to get to. We've been pontificating. By the way, some of you want to know where Laura Carno is at. Laura Carno is had an appointment today. Laura's going to today, this week only. Laura's back. She's going to come on Friday. She had to have a last minute change of plans because of just some activity she had to do, and so she was out of pocket and couldn't do the show. So Laura will be back on with us Friday this week, and then she will come back to our Tuesday show. We have Carno Tuesday. Anybody see this? Senate Majority Leader Chucky Schumer, who has gone bat crap crazy, is facing a lot of mockery because he has launched a tip line. Remember Tim Walz during COVID in Minnesota, that little putsy governor of Minnesota? You could call in and you could report, there's kids playing in the street having fun and they don't have masks and they're playing basketball on a blacktop and they're not social distancing. And people could complain, and those tapes have now come out about what little Timmy the Marxist commie Waltz in Minnesota wanted. So evidently Chucky Schumer is so bothered. This, as Joe Biden said, no joke. There's no joke. Chuck Schumer has launched a whistleblower line, basically, where you can expose corruption of abuses of power and threats to public safety. So Chuck Schumer says, Donald Trump's in office. We didn't have to do this with Joe Biden, but now this is the tip line, and we're going to report and expose corruption, abuses of power, and threats to public safety. There's a link, and I'm going to give all of you the link. And right now, I want to encourage you to get your pen and paper out and write down the link that I'm going to give you, because Chuck Schumer is asking you to call out and report violations of people infringing upon your right. He says this is a vital part of congressional oversight to hold the administration accountable. The categories whistleblowers can report include retaliation, wasteful spending, fraud, criminal activity, and others. So Chucky Schumer, little Chucky, went on the Twitter and he said, today I'm calling on our brave servants. I'm launching a new portal for anyone who wants to expose corruption, abuses of power, and threats to public safety with legal protections of being a whistleblower. He gives out the website, and it immediately get panned by people on Twitter. And you can go find Chuck Schumer's post. I think it's still up. Somebody replied, we already have that. It's called DOGE. Somebody else replied, hey, look at the Schumer guy. He's definitely done a crime. You should look into him. Senator Ted Cruz said, great. I want to report Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Chuck Schumer and the entire corrupt Democrat Party that weaponized and abused the federal government for the past 4 years. And so everybody started reporting Chuck Schumer as a criminal. Carrie Severino, who the Judicial Care Network, said, this is rich coming from Senator Schumer, who stood at the steps of the Supreme Court, threatened Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, saying they would have to pay the price for exercising judicial review. And so he's really getting taken to task. Katie Pavlich says, I have someone to report, pictured here at the Supreme Court, threatening Justices Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, and it's Chuck Schumer there. If you would like to report Chuck Schumer or any of the Democrats for their criminal activity, the website is, and I told you I'd give you this, democrats.senate.gov/whistleblowers. Let me say that again. If you'd like to report Chuck Schumer for threatening the lives and threatening violence upon lives of Supreme Court justices, or not knowing how to grill a hamburger at 4th of July, or any other crimes against humanity that these idiots have committed, the report line is democrats.senate.gov/whistleblowers. Democrats.senate.gov/whistleblowers. Chuck says he's calling on our brave public servants. Well, all of us are public servants in a sense. I'm serving the public behind a microphone. He says you should be able to report criminal activity. And also, if you're on the Twitter out there, you should go find Chuck. I'll retweet it here in a second. And we should all report Chuck Schumer for the crimes he's committed and the threats he's brought to the public safety of members of the Supreme Court. So, Chuck, you've committed a few crimes yourself, and I think today will be the day that you will have to reckon for those as far as they're being reported on. So if you want to report, if you're a whistleblower out there, democrats.senate.gov/whistleblowers, and you can let the world know what Chuck Schumer has done out there and how naughty he has been. All right, I want to remind you to this portion of the program, we talk about how it's being free and how you can support it. And we don't get USAID money like the New York Times and Politico. We do this out of the love and kindness of our own heart and hopefully trying to build a little media empire, if you will. And producer Chad and I have a very expensive and time-consuming hobby at this point. But we do have some great sponsors that are coming on board. And I want to mention one of them I mentioned to you the last week or so is Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. Listen, maybe you're, it's cold. I don't know what the weather is. We have a lot of snow all across America. A little snow powder on the ground here as well. But come springtime, summertime, a lot of times people start thinking, let's do the spring cleaning. Maybe we should sell. It's a great time. Kids are out of school. The real estate market, in a sense, people really start thinking more about it. Maybe you've contemplated what are your real estate goals this year? Maybe this is the year you really want to get into the rental property business. Maybe this is the year you're really ready to downsize. Maybe this is the year you want to buy your home of your dreams. Maybe this is the year for fill in the blank for real estate. Homeswithsherry.com. You'll meet Sherry Cree, fantastic lady, and she wants to sit down and talk with you, talk about your real estate goals. She doesn't just want to put a sign in your yard. She wants to have a sit down, a consultation, conversation, kind of review. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you wanting to buy this next house? Is it a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan? Do you plan to be here 2 years? It just kind of make sure there's a strategy involved, because real estate can end up, if you're playing smart, it can build generational wealth, set you up in the next generations as well. So that she wants to look at it from a very big picture and help you then focus on, I didn't think of that. Maybe this would be a great strategy. Listen, Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com. If you're anywhere under the sound of my dulcet tones watching this or listening to this in the state of Colorado, from northern Colorado, the Fort Collins area, all the way down to the Colorado Springs, Aurora, Highlands Ranch, Boulder, wherever you're at, homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. She's a white glove realtor. I mean, she's going to take care of every detail, and you're going to be impressed with her just attention to detail. And if you ever read the book Ninja Selling, she's a ninja seller. She practices those techniques, and study that. Look that up, Google it. AI and whatever, and you'll find out, wow, that's pretty intense. She will take care of some of the sales stuff that thinks in a way that a lot of the folks don't. Homeswithsherry.com. Right now, that consultation, that conversation is free. There's no obligation. She's not going to make you put a sign in your yard, make you sell your home, but she's willing to sit down and just put another set of eyes on your real estate goals and have a conversation with you. Homeswithsherry.com. Homeswithsherry.com. When you support Sherry, you're supporting this program, and I appreciate you doing that. Homeswithsherry.com. Homeswithsherry.com. Give her a call. And again, it's all about just the big picture. Make your real estate dreams come true. Homeswithsherry.com. All right, I get some weird messages coming in here sometimes on my text. I got to turn my phone off. That's what I need. It's off, but it flashes. I need to turn it down so I don't see all the disturbing messages some of you freaks are sending me. When I say freaks, you're all my friends, because some of you do have my cell phone number, and I should change my cell phone number very quickly because some of you shouldn't have my cell phone number. Anyway, I shouldn't do that. All right, what else do we have here on the program I want to get to? We did the, I did the Fauci. Here's another thing. When you defend DOGE, you're defending a Fauci museum. One of the things, $182 million is money that had been set aside. Now, so here's what Congress does. Congress approves a budget, and they give it to the Department of Health and Human Services, right? They give it to, they take your money from Main Street, they take it to Washington, D.C., and say, hey, you in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, we're going to keep your money up here, right? We're going to really take care of your money up here in Washington. We're going to take care of it. And they take $180 million from Sacramento, California, Boulder, Colorado, where they take it from all across America, and they pull it back. And occasionally, in the graciousness of their generosity, they will say, okay, we're going to give that money back to your neighborhood, and we're going to give it to your schools, the Department of Education, but we're going to tell the schools how they have to spend it. And you're going, wouldn't the schools locally know better how to spend that money? No, we're going to tell you it has to go on diversity, equity, inclusion training, and you have to teach little girls that they can B-boys, and that's the stuff that they do. They take the money to D.C. and they hand it back with restrictions. The Department of Highway and Transportation will do that. They take money out, and rather than us being able to focus and build the roads that we need, hey, we're going to give you a little bit of money for your highway, but you need to make sure it has charging stations and bike lanes, and you can't have too many lanes. And they put restrictions on how you spend your money because it is your money they take to Washington, D.C. Well, DOGE is uncovering all of this stupid spending. And so the Department of Government Efficiency last week stopped. They said, okay, stop. We're canceling this contract immediately. They didn't cut the funding. They didn't cut the department. They said the Department of Health and Human Services under Joe Biden was funding to the tune of $180 million a museum exhibit to honor Tony Fauci. You cannot make this up. They canceled 62 different contracts that were worth $182 million. And they were entirely for administrative expenses. None of them touched any healthcare programs. And of the $180 million for administration, $168,000 was for an Anthony Fauci exhibit at the NIH Museum. Now, first of all, back up. National Institute of Health. You're supposed to be instituting health, right? You're supposed to be taking care of Americans' health. They have their own museum, funded and paid for by you, and they were going to spend another $168,000 to put up an Anthony Fauci monument and an Anthony Fauci tribute, so that when you went to the NIH Museum, and by the way, if you've gone to Washington, D.C. and gone to the NIH Museum, you're a weird person. I never even knew there was an NIH museum, but they were going to the museum was going to be used from July. It was used from 24 until July this year. It's for 12 months, and they had $4 billion annually in excessive grants for administrative cost. So they took $4 billion off Main Street in America, sucked it up to Washington, D.C., and rather than that focus on healthcare and public safety or whatever NIH is supposed to do, Health and Human Services, the HHS, their $4 billion was just for extra administration outside of the regular budget for administration. It was just grants that came to them. And then we're going to donate $168,000. Oh, by the way, Silver Spring, Maryland is where the Fauci exhibit and the National Museum of Health and Medicine was going to be. Anyway, there's your dollars at work. So, hey, Elizabeth Warren, all of you jackwagons, continue to celebrate and criticize DOGE. And by doing that, you're celebrating the fact that we were going to have $168,000 of Fauci's. The left is oftentimes talking about all the things we're missing. We need to pay teachers more. We need to do this. We could probably do a heck of a lot if we weren't spending $168,000 on Dr. Fauci museums, if we weren't spending millions, if not billions of dollars on teaching people about diversity, equity, inclusion, and trying to figure out how we can, the snapping test, that was the millions of dollars to research snapping by USAID. Think of all the things that the left tells you they want to do and how they need money to do it. And the fact is, the money's already there. The money's just being wasted and diverted in weird and strange and very idiotic ways. It really is sad. We gotta do stolen meme segment of the show, right? We gotta do the memes, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, if you'd like to advertise, you'd like to be like Sherry Cree and be an advertiser of this program, a sponsor of the show. Like so many years, I was sponsored. Enjoyed the love of Lehman Lewis Financial Group, LehmanLewis.com, Corey Clinton, 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. If you would like to do that, listen. Again, this program is not funded by USAID. Okay, we do not have. Maybe they'd give us money if we were going to do a tribute to Dr. Fauci every morning, but I have character and I have principles. So if you'd like to support this program in any way, I'd love to have you support the program and advertise with us. No matter what city, what country, what product you have. If you have a national business, even better. If you're local, we can geofence it in and make sure we really target your area. But if you'd like to advertise with us, we got very affordable packages. A lot of them still available. Info@JimmyLakey.com, info@JimmyLakey.com, info@JimmyLakey.com. And I would love to have you be a part of the program. Also, In just a second, I'm going to play a video of, as soon as this show's done, I'm going to take a break, and I'm doing a long-form interview with L.A. Marzulli. I'll tease that here in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, the stolen meme section of the show. You ready? Woo! Round and round the world we go. Where the memes go, we don't really know. Here we go. Stolen memes. This is true. This is actually a very cool meme. Actual photo. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, is sleeping on the floor of DOGE so that we can get back, so that he can get back to work quicker. This man's not taking a dime, and Elon Musk is sleeping on the floor in Washington, D.C., so that he and his team can continue to look for government inefficiency. So, Elizabeth Warren, have you ever slept on the floor, sacrificing time and comfort for your country? Hey, Chuck Schumer. Have you ever slept on the floor? Maybe you slept in your office or something, but he's sleeping on the floor. A lot of Congress people do sometimes save money, sleep in their offices, but yeah, that's a beautiful picture. God bless Elon Musk and protect him against the tyrants that are in the Democrat Party that are unhinged. All right, spin the wheel. The globe. It's not a wheel; it's a globe, but we spin it around. We pull memes around from a. Yeah, it was breaking news yesterday. Babylon Bee always has great headlines. That the Chiefs have fired their referees. The referees did not come through for them on Sunday. And so the Chiefs are now hiring new refs. So be aware of that. We steal memes from around the globe. So I spin the globe, and where we land, no one knows. I don't know how many memes we have today. Oh, yeah, this is it. Get out while you can. There's the blue cities, the Democrat cities. Denver's one of those. Boulder's one of those. Boston's one of those. So you name your big city. LA's one of those. People still living there, sleeping like drug addicts on a couch that's on fire. Get out while you can. And by the way, if you live in one of those hell rat-infested cities and you want to get out, homeswithsherry.com should help you get out of those blue cities. See the segue there? I'm a professional, my friend. All right, spin the globe. We steal memes from around the globe. Where's this meme coming from? It lands, oh, there we go. A house doubles in value after being egged. That's not a bad idea. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't give my home address at the house of Lakey, and I have alligators and crocodiles in a moat and security fences and stuff, so don't F with me. F around, find out. That's all I have to say. But there is a thing that maybe, hey, when you have that consultation with Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com, ask her if putting eggs, maybe include a couple of dozen eggs in the fridge. We'll leave the eggs in the fridge, and that will double your home value. I wouldn't suggest egging the paint, but it's a thought that, I mean, we're going to be mugging kids at Easter time for the Easter egg hunt. I mean, we're going to be looking for legs. Remember the eggs, the legs, pantyhose eggs? Nobody's going to be able to afford to boil all those eggs and risk them getting broken by a little junior out there Easter egg hunting. We're going to have to get those plastic eggs, and it's always good. Okay, spin the wheel. Around the globe we go, and where we steal the memes from, no one knows. This is one of my favorites. I love it. It circulates on my newsfeed every once in a while. Hello, I'm Howard Cosell. I just looked in the future, and you're not going to believe this poop I'm about to tell you. Hello, Caitlin. How are you, Caitlin? There's a late, great O.J. Simpson. Hello. Howard Cosell. You're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. Hey, go back to those days of those old Super Bowls. They wouldn't believe that we had a couple of years ago a graphic depiction of a fertilization of a woman's egg with the male spermatozoa swimming across the stage. You're not going to believe the crap that's going on in front of us. You wouldn't believe that there was a guy supposedly singing on Sunday exposing a pedophilia ring. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you wouldn't believe out there, but it's all happening right before us. Round and around the world we go. We steal the memes from where no one knows. Here we go. Mexican word of the day. We're in Mexico. Mexican word of the day is disperse. Maria asks Sophia, does disperse go with my outfit? Those are producer Chad. He finds those every day. And don't blame me. Don't blame me. I need a sombrero. When we have Cinco de Mayo, it's called cultural appropriation. You're not supposed to wear sombreros like that if you're a honky like myself. But I'm thinking I may wear a sombrero that day. But I think it'd kind of cover up the screen here. All right, do we have any more memes? Let's spin and see. Are we out of memes? Around the world we go. We steal memes from all over the globe. Here we go. Yeah, we're out of memes. We're the meme factory short. We were short on memes. Okay, I will do one more thing here before we wrap up. I said after this program, I'm going to be doing a quick interview. Not a quick interview. I'm going to be. Last Friday, we had a great guest. Some of you are familiar with L.A. Marzulli, and that is going to be a new Patreon ad. It'll probably be a new Patreon edition. It's going to be an interview he's agreed for a much longer time than we had on Friday. And if you don't know L.A. Marzulli, we dove in. Let me play a snippet of it. We talked everything about the Nephilim, which are biblical things, and it's true. I've did some, after he blew my mind on Friday, did some research. We did some talk about UFOs. We're going to talk about the prophetic calendar, the biblical prophetic calendar. I mean, I was last night, Chad and I were texting, producer Chad and I were texting, and I said, I was going to bed early, but I'm on rabbit holes and studying and researching for this interview with L.A. Marzulli. That's going to be coming up in long form. Now, the free one that happened Friday is out there right now. We tweeted it out, and it's out there on all the platforms, I think, right now. You can watch it. Go watch the whole Friday show, or just go watch this interview. It's up I know it's even up on my Patreon page for free. This is the show version of what we did on Friday with L.A. Marzulli. And L.A. and I are going to be talking in about 45 minutes from right now. He and I are an hour and a half from right now. Sometime this morning, we're going to step in the studio and we're going to do another interview with L.A. Marzulli. And this one, the one we're going to do today, is going to be a Patreon ad because it's just going to be too long to do on the long form of the show. So patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey, 7-day free trial. I think it's several days of a free trial. It's $9.95 a month, and there's a lot of great interviews up there. And one of those is Thomas D. Lorenzo. I think we have that one as well. We'll do that. This is what you're missing on Patreon. If you're not careful, you're going to miss out. This is L.A. Marzulli. Again, I'm going to do a follow-up interview with him today. That's only going to be on Patreon, but this is free on all the platforms that we're on, and you can watch. This happened on Friday's show.
The whole UFO phenomena is completely compartmentalized. In other words, if you don't have a need to know, then you don't get a need to know. Then you'll never know what's going on. I was recently with a 3-star general. I won't tell you what branch he was from. And I asked him point blankly about Roswell, about the Collins Elite, about UFO retrieval programs. He knows nothing. This is a 3-star. He knows. Was he pulling my leg? I doubt it. I'm a student of body language. And I look right at this guy. He was telling me the truth as he knows it. So it's hard to, pick and choose just because the CIA or some of these agencies are being dismantled. It's hard to say who knows what. Some people who are on the inside do know. Here's just one example. Area 51, there has not been a president that I'm aware of that has ever gone to Area 51, S4. And S4, for those of you who don't know, is where Bob Lazar worked, and then he fled. And this is where George Knapp comes in and the whole TV thing. Lazar has never changed his story in decades. Never changed his story. They were back engineering craft. Fast forward to last year, David Grush in front of Congress. This isn't coast to coast with George Norrie. This is the halls of Congress. And when Nancy Mace, there's that name again, Representative Nancy Mace from South Carolina, asked him, do we have a crash retrieval program? Basically, he says yes. Then she follows up, do we have the bodies from the crash? Non-human biologics. This is the halls of Congress.
All right, that's a tease. Now, that happened Friday. You want to watch the rest of the interview? It's at Patreon. We put it up on Rumble. It's up on the YouTube last night. By the way, I know a lot of you don't like YouTube. We make fun of the YouTube a lot, but I'd love some more subscribers over there. So if you can go like us on YouTube, and there's a method to our madness. One of the ways you get media content put out there and is you fool the algorithms. And there's other ways to monetize pages and things like that, but we need more followers on the YouTube so that we get more attention on the YouTube. Yeah, I know they banned us a couple of weeks ago. I'm not holding too many grudges. That's what we talk about. That gets us in trouble with the YouTube. But go like us on the YouTube. Even if you don't want to watch us on YouTube, go like us on there. Subscribe, I think is what they call it there. And I would really appreciate you doing that. I really, surely would. And Rumble as well. If you're not on Rumble, go get a Rumble page. Look up Lakey Unleashed. I have a page that says Jimmy Lakey, but there's a Lakey Unleashed. It's a channel that's on the Rumble page. And so picture the flowchart. In Rumble, we can go out there and it's a Jimmy Lakey. Then I can have several channels. I can have a Lakey Unleashed, and I can have UFOs and things. By the way, this interview I'm going to do later, a little bit later from now, with L.A. Marzulli. We're diving into some deep stuff. I guarantee we're going to dive into some deep stuff, and stuff that you may not have learned in Sunday school. But he speaks at conferences and understands the prophetic timeline of the Bible and interprets it. And we're going to find where we're at. And if you ever wondered about crop circles, To talk about that today with L.A. Marzulli. If you've ever thought about, you've heard these stories, and there's stories out there, you can find them, the non-human biologics that were testified in Congress that they have in custody in the some of these spacecrafts that have been recovered. They have biologics. They're not human. They don't know what they are. There's even stories about some of the metals that they have, and they know it's an aluminum type metal, but it's nothing familiar with anything on Earth. And so it's really weird. That's why it's about Area 51, that they're back reversing something, reverse engineering, going, how do we create that? And if you go to L.A. Marzulli's website, he puts out daily blogs or video blogs, and he was talking about a Super Bowl commercial in which they had aliens portrayed with a chef, and they were going to use this new material called hexclad, and it's some kind of a metal. And I'll talk to LA about that as well, because there's that reverse engineering stuff from aliens, because somehow we just come up with this new stuff. But all this stuff is in the hallowed halls of Congress, all testified under perjury, and yet we're sitting there. And I watched a conference with L.A. Marzulli, and we're all sitting here like this, doing this all day, and we're not paying attention to what's out here all day. And out here all day is some pretty fascinating stuff. So anyway, that interview is coming up with L.A. Marzulli. If you've ever, we're gonna get into the Nephilim seeding program. That became a big topic of conversation. We're gonna do a deep dive into the seeding program, and I got some legit questions. Because some of this is new to me as well. Anyway, you want to subscribe at patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey, patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. If I could do one more shameless plug, I think we have an interview that dropped. That producer Chad has it up there, and this is with Tom DiLorenzo. This went out yesterday, I believe, yesterday morning, and this is a talk about tariffs. And, not everybody I have is sings the praise of Donald Trump, and not necessarily critical in this interview, but he has a differing viewpoint than perhaps Donald Trump has on tariffs. And I think it's a fascinating concept. So this is Tom Lorenzo. He is the president of the Mises Institute, a real group of smart people. We talk to people from the Mises Institute oftentimes. This is just a snippet of what we talked about. If you want to learn more about tariffs, the history of tariffs, the same way a couple of weeks ago, with someone from the Mises Institute, we did a deep dive on the 14th Amendment. All that's behind the paywall, patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. If you say, Jimmy, I like what you're doing every day, I want to support you, go to patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey and subscribe. It's $9.95 a month, and you're going to get interviews like this. This is just a snippet of my interview that dropped yesterday with Tom DiLorenzo. This happened on Friday after the show, and it dropped on Monday. Roll the tape, producer Chad.
Finance our government until 1913, mostly with tariffs, and I don't think that'll ever happen again. If President Trump does try to do this and say, well, we're going to replace the income tax with tariffs, I would bet my life that we would end up with both an income tax and tariffs and tariff taxes and bigger government than ever. And it's not, in my review also, it's not a good thing for President Trump to say, besides, the government will have more money to spend if we impose tariff taxes on foreigners. Yeah. Why is it when conservatives think it's a good idea for politicians to be able to spend more of our money, of our hard-earned money that we earn in our jobs? That's how did that happen? How do conservatives all of a sudden? It's just because, Trump. I'm a supporter of Trump. I thank God we didn't get the communist Kamala Harris in the White House. And he's doing a lot of great things, but this is very suspicious. One good thing he's done, though, is he's used his businessman's deal-making prowess to get what he wants about the border. He hasn't imposed tariffs on Canada and Mexico, but he's used tariff as a tool to say, if you don't help us shut down the border and control the border, this is what we'll do.
All right, that's enough of Tom DiLorenzo. That's a full interview. We went, it's 30 or 45 minutes, but he does a deep dive into tariffs, the history of tariffs. And again, you hear the fear is that we do tariffs, and up until 1913, tariffs were how we funded the government. Then they put in the income tax, and the rest is history from there. And he's afraid that tariffs, they say, well, the government's going to have more money. If you're going to implement tariffs, which is a tax, then let's roll back the income tax, and you don't want to do both, because then the government's double dipping out of your pocket. So it's a really interesting interview. And again, you can hear I don't want to have people on the show or people in the chat room that just simply drink the Kool-Aid. They used to make fun of Limbaugh in the day. And that's why all the people would say dittos, mega dittos, Rush. And they did that because the media said all these people were a bunch of ditto heads. Whatever Rush said, they said. Whatever Jeff says Tom Lorenzo was a little hard to follow. At least he supports Trump. Well, Jeff, you're getting an excerpt of a 40-minute interview, okay? Don't be drawing conclusions. You got to go watch the thing. I'm sure you have. Jeff's, I think, is a subscriber. If I have my Jeff's right, he's a subscriber. But he's a subscriber. Watch the whole interview. And these intellectual guys, they ramble sometimes. I think I know what you're talking about. It's a good interview, though. I think you'll learn something. And he's just not on the bandwagon and going, oh, Donald Trump said it. He's just like, hey, let's look at it this way and this way and this way. And I think I know what you're saying. If you watch the whole thing, I think I know what you're saying there. All right. That's all behind the paywall. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page. So Facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page is my Facebook page. And Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey is the other one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. Don't forget to subscribe to the Patreon page. Don't forget, if you want to advertise with us, you just want to support us again. I mean this. I put this out. Jeff says he listened to the whole thing. All right, okay. So you listen to the whole thing. I understand what you're saying, Jeff. Sometimes it's like you're getting good information. Everybody go to college class. You had a brilliant professor, and yet sometimes you're like, okay, you're kind of all over here, but I appreciate you. Gotcha. That's what I have. Some of you. So it's kind of like some of you get really annoyed at Steve Laffey on Wednesday. He'll be on tomorrow, by the way. He's going to poke the bear tomorrow. Steve's coming back. But if you take the Steve Laffey conversations, you may not agree with everything Steve said, but he brings up some great points and you kind of rethink. That's what they used to call, they thought that we all had to be walking from the beat of the same drum, and we don't have to be. We can have different viewpoints. Robert F. Kennedy and I disagree on some things. I disagree with myself some days. I'm like, what the hell am I thinking? Listen, I want you to hear voices, and even though sometimes it's the rambling professor, and sometimes you're like, well, you didn't praise Trump enough. Listen, the only one you need to praise at all times is God himself and Jesus. That's it. Other than that, you don't have to praise everybody all the time. Now, I do appreciate when you praise me all the time. Yeah, we're going to talk this. Yes, we'll talk. Yes, I will talk. You guys are like junior hires. I will talk the seeding program. No, I wrote this question. I was texting producer Chad, and we're talking about the Nephilim seeding program, that it's biblical. I mean, it's in the book of Daniel that they didn't get extinguished. We'll talk about this with Dr. Marzulli just a bit. They didn't get flooded out in Noah's flood. They did not. It's in the Bible. They come up a little bit later, and there's a lot of stuff to it. And so on the seeding program, I want to know what. Just you're gonna have to subscribe to here. I've got some questions about that. I'm writing this stuff down, going, dear goodness gracious, can't believe I'm writing this question to ask a guest about seed. In the biblical sense, of course, yes. In the biblical sense. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if it's cold outside, and I would like for you to be a big supporter of all of the people that partner with us. And for many years, Corey Clinton and 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning in Colorado have been a big supporter of this program, my program, the radio program. They've supported our charity and just title sponsored our charity golf tournament every year. And listen, it's another cold spell. I hear all across America is cold. I can see outside this morning, and there's snow on the ground here, and we're going to get another round of snow in Colorado. Listen, if your furnace is not working, it's not keeping up right, I want to tell you, you ready? I want you to call 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, 1hourheatandair.com/Jimmy Lakey. If you're in the great state of Colorado, anywhere, really, I mean, they'll tell you if they can't get there. They've gone out east in the Eastern Plains to help people out. They're just good people. They have a large coverage area, and they take care of you. So if your furnace is not keeping up in the winter, you think it's running too much, don't think it's being effective, have them do the tune-up. It's not too late. We've got a couple more months of winter here. Have them do the tune-up. It's real easy to have them come out, and they'll just inspect everything, make sure there's no problem lurking there that you're not recognizing. Because if you don't catch it early, sometimes they'll become big problems. And they have the best warranties and guarantees in the industry. It's 1hourheatandair.com/Jimmy Lakey, 1hourheatandair.com/Jimmy Lakey, 855-1-HOUR, 855-1-HOUR, 855-1-HOUR. And again, whether you're in Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins, Wellington, Aurora, maybe you're out in Fort Morgan, I don't know. Just call them up, 855-1-HOUR. If you're up, maybe you're up in Nederland. Anybody know where Nederland, Colorado is? Maybe you're in Nederland, Golden, wherever you're at. 1hourheatandair.com/Jimmy Lakey, 855-1-HOUR. My guys, this is who I have trusted for really a decade now. to take care of the HVAC needs at my home, the House of Lakey, the Lakey Estate. And I hope you'll trust him as well. 1hourheatandair.com/Jimmy Lakey. All right. Everybody have a great day. I mean, I love you. God bless you. Spread the word about the program. If you see us post some content out there, would you like it? Would you share it? It really pisses off the algorithms out there. Go like us on some of these other platforms as well. Go like us on the YouTubes. Go like us on the Rumble. Go like us on the Facebook. My Facebook page that I post on throughout the day is facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page. So if you're on some of those other platforms, you say, well, I just get the videos. If you want some regular stream of me throughout the day, news stories, forwards, links, and stuff like that, it's facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page. My Twitter handle or X handle is my name, Jimmy Lakey. I'm also on Truth Social. I'm not as active there. I need to get better at Truth Social, but I'm drinking water from a fire hydrant as it is trying to get this show up and running. Hey, God bless you. May God bless America. Thanks all of our sponsors. Thanks Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com. Corey Clinton, Layman Lewis, thank you all. God bless you. God bless America. I'm going to go talk about the Nephilim seeding program right now. Exciting stuff in my life. Everybody stand by. See you tomorrow. Get out of here. Go to work. Earn some money, would you? Yeah, please do. I gotta get away from the logo. Hey, you're supposed to be at work right now, right? You're supposed to be out there? Go. I'm hiding behind the fence here. It's a fence. It's a wall to keep the illegals out. Go to work, everybody. There's nothing to see here. Nothing else is going on. I feel like I'm playing peekaboo with a bunch of children. I'm supposed to go home. Everybody go home.